Hey guys, welcome back. It is part 2 of our rebuilding a forgotten project Lincoln LS. And in today's part, we are going to now conquer that disgusting interior that is filled with mold and an entire ecosystem. For those of you that didn't watch my last video, I bought this car for $995. And in today's video, well, yep, we're gonna go ahead and clean up that disgusting interior. And then we are going to dive underneath the hood and try to get this thing running. So let's get at it. All right, so we have the steam cleaner here. We got the shop vac. Just gonna start off by initially vacuuming anything that's loose, floating around, lots of spider webs, lots of cobwebs sitting in here, lots of dust. And the worst part of all is this. So yeah, it's pretty nasty. We're gonna get to work on it and hopefully clean this interior up a little bit. Again, it's not gonna be 100% right now, but I'll do that on another day. I really just wanna get this car running right. So for now, we're gonna start by cleaning up some of this inside stuff. See you guys in a little bit. This I had hit and it came flying open, and there we can go. It doesn't smell like smoke in here, but obviously whoever had this car before me was some form of a smoker, so that's disgusting. But we're gonna go ahead and clean that out. You can see though, the overall inside and interior quality in here is very nice, especially for an 06. We have ventilated seats, heated seats. The rears are actually heated seats as well. This is a full telescopic steering wheel. It has 2 memory seat options for here as well. Actually has a screen on here, and like I said before, it actually has a sunroof. So pretty cool. I'm kind of scared about the electronic parking brake. I hate cars that are controlled with an electronic parking brake, especially if we're going to do the rear brakes. I'm going to have to see if there's a way to put this in service mode or something like that. But other than that, yeah, we're going to go ahead and vacuum that out because that's disgusting, and pretty much wrap up the interior for now. Then we're gonna run to the store and get some parts. All right guys, so we are all done now with the interior cleaning mostly. Obviously I wasn't able to get 100% of everything clean, but for now at least I could sit in it and not catch a disease. What I also did do is go ahead and blow out the engine bay, getting rid of all of the mice or squirrel, whatever it was, leftovers. This guy was also in there, which is pretty funny. Little peanut. So this is all clean now. I took the covers off. Next, what we're gonna do is get a new battery and then start to take off all of the valve covers on here to expose the coil covers, whatever these are, and the coils and spark plugs are underneath here. So I actually did notice that it was missing a screw back there, as you can see, and in the trunk of the car actually the screw is in there, so pretty weird on that. All right guys, I am back now from the auto parts store. I went ahead, got a new battery, got a new cabin air filter, and 2 new wiper blades for the front of the car because they were shot, like I said. I'm going to now go ahead and start the install process and of the MAF sensor and taking apart everything to get to the coils and plugs. And then I'm gonna throw in the new battery and hopefully she should crank over and sound pretty good. So I'll see you guys in a little bit. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and take off the MAF sensor, which is right here. And then we're gonna disassemble all of this and try and make some room to get to the covers on here. These look like a nightmare to reach. And the MAF sensor on this car was just held in with 2 simple Torx screws, and what it does is it just measures the amount of air entering the engine and just helps regulate everything. And now on the passenger side, there's just 2 10mm bolts that are holding in a wiring harness mounting bracket, and just removing those allows me to get them out of the way and allows me to get more room towards those rear coil cover pack screws. So we now have the cap off, and here we have half the coils. So we're gonna start unplugging these guys, checking and seeing how dry it is inside of the hole, and hopefully it's pretty dry in there, because then that means we don't have to replace the seal in between here, the heads. So let's go ahead though, and let's take these guys off and examine them. So we now have all 4 coils out. It's pretty dirty right there as well, so I'm gonna get a vacuum and clean all that up. But the first 2 coils were fine, but the third one got some residue in there, not great. And the 4th one has some water on it, which I'm presuming is from when I lightly sprayed the back of the engine bay out. And because it doesn't have any screws back there, which I didn't notice until after, I'm assuming some water went in that way. Again, at least I'm replacing everything. I'm gonna put some paper towels in there too, just to dry everything out as well. And yeah, then we will continue moving forward. I did notice though, the second one actually was unplugged slightly when I went to take it all off. So I'm assuming that was probably the first thing that was setting off the misfire code or coil. So I'm just gonna replace them obviously anyway, because I don't know how old these are. So let's keep moving forward. Let me vacuum that up, and then we're gonna take the spark plugs out. Alright, so we have pulled all 4 plugs out now. I just put some paper towels in there. We're just gonna dry them out as best as we can. But as you can see, as we went back farther and farther, we have some oil and stuff on the actual spark plugs, meaning that I'm assuming that the gasket inside, in between the heads, the upper and lower head, are shot. So that's just something else to now think about. But against my better judgment, I at least want to see how the car runs. So I am going to throw in some new plugs and some new coils, and then we're going to do the other side and put the new MAF sensor in and see if it at least runs better than before. So let's go ahead and let's keep working. The driver's side of a Lincoln LS spark plug coil change is probably the worst thing I think I've ever done in my life, especially when everything is brittle. This is the worst! Not having fun. I got it off though. And when I mean these were the most difficult spark plugs and coils to replace on a car, I really mean it. There was so much stuff in the way, blocking the covers from coming off, and on top of that, just trying to get any kind of ratchet or socket head into the actual spark plug hole was almost impossible. Alright guys, we have the new MAF sensor here now. All the sparks and coils are in now on the driver's side. Again, that was probably the hardest spark plug coil job that I've done in a while, because it was just stupid and you had to take everything off just to get to it. So we're going to go ahead and throw this in, throw the fresh battery in, and well, we're going to crank it up and see what happens. So let's put this in. And crank it up, see what happens. Throw a fresh battery on. Check the oil. Oil looked clean. So whatever happens, happens. It blows up. Not my fault. If it works, I did a good job. See how it is. All right. Oh my God, moment of truth. All right, we got power. This works. Oh my God. Running. And there's no check engine lights. Still running rough. Okay, so now that we have the spark plugs and coils completed on this car, it's time to change that oil, change that fuel, and let's start diving a little bit deeper, and let's see if I got scammed on my $1,000 Lincoln LS. The car is running, but it's not running well. So it's very rough idle, and the car is throwing a few codes right now, one of which is the VVT camshaft solenoid. So the VVT, or variable valve timing solenoid, controls your oil flow to the sprockets, which shift the position of the camshaft. That helps with your valve timing, your valve duration, and the valve lift, allowing your car to get power. And if these go bad, which they tend to do, it results in every symptom my car has now: rough idle, engine vibration, and fluctuations in the RPMs. So that's going to be the next step, and while I have to take apart the top end of the motor, I might as well just replace the gaskets while it's all apart anyway. So that's going to be the next thing. But The car does have 4-year-old gas in it, which obviously doesn't help. So what I did is I put some fuel injector cleaner in there and put 4 gallons of fresh 93 in, but it needs a full tank of 93 fresh fuel in it. So what I'm also going to do is the oil in it. While it looks clean, the oil is 4 years old and the car's been sitting not moving. So I'm going to give a full oil change today, and we're gonna start that off, and then we're gonna go ahead and start taking off the engine and taking it apart, which will be another day because I did order the parts and I just have to wait for them to come in. So that's gonna be another day. So we have some fresh oil, as you can see here. We have our fresh oil filter, and we have some STP oil treatment stop leak, which I've never used before, but why not? All right, so here we are underneath. We got our drain plug right here. So we're gonna go ahead and take this out, see what the oil looks like, and then go from there. Got the filter right here. Yeah, and then we'll go from there. So we'll take these two off. Should be a pretty fast process, and see what this oil looks like. All right, so it's really seized on there right now, of course, because it's old. So I went ahead and sprayed it down with some oil. Hopefully that'll break through. But generally speaking, looking down here, it doesn't look terrible. Not like rusted out or anything like that. For the most part, everything looks pretty clean down here. Again, guys, I'm teaching myself kind of along the way as I go on this. So again, it's also Lincoln. So I don't know if that's like a water pump or something like that, but that is like, that's really corroded. That's really corroded. Oh man, that's chalky milk. It's not good. That oil is not that fresh. I'm gonna go ahead and let this drain out, throw some fresh oil in there, because that is not good. It's been sitting for such a long time, even though it looked pretty clean, but not clean at all. All right, guys, and we're actually on a new day, so I did not finish filming the day of the oil change because, well, after, as you saw, that oil looked like chocolate milk, which was not a good sign. Obviously, there's some kind of liquid getting in there, some kind of coolant mixing with the oil or water, moisture in this case, and I think I have a feeling I know what it is, and I'm really hoping it's not like something like a head gasket or whatever it is. But I believe that because, if you guys remember, the coil pack covers were missing screws, and there's obviously moisture getting in there, and as you saw on the back of those, the passenger side, the rear 2 coils on there had a ton of oil and liquid in it. I believe water too. So obviously that had to have leaked in somewhere, and I'm guessing it was just because there's no screws on it, and also the fact that there was also it seems like the valve cover gaskets are just shot. So we have the new valve cover gaskets, and what we're gonna do now is start to take apart the top end of the motor, and we're gonna replace these guys and replace those stupid solenoids. And before I got working, I decided to take some of these clips off before I discovered, well, as you can see, my friends were not just living in the engine bay, but I found their other nest. So we'll evict them in another part of the video. Alright, so the cover is now off. Here you can see the cams, the timing chain, and this guy right here is the solenoid. It's held in by 1 bolt right there. We'll pull that up afterwards. It's pretty dirty, in all honesty. I mean, we're gonna have to clean a lot of that. Got your little gasket maker right here. Alright guys, so after some finagling, we do have the now new valve cover gasket on here. We also replaced all of the ones on the little screws right here, along with the ones that go into the spark plug holes.
And now with the new valve cover gasket on, what we're going to do now is remove the solenoid on the passenger side. We're going to replace that with a new one, and then we're going to get everything all buttoned up, and then we're going to do the same thing to the driver's side.
Alright guys, part 2 of the engine is now done. I saved you guys a hassle because let me just tell you now, the Jaguar motors, this engine sucks. It's just a nightmare to work on, especially that driver's side. I've just been messing around and getting the trying to replace the head gasket and the solenoid for the last like 3 hours, and most of the time was just literally getting the bolts on and off, because there's just no room. And even though I took apart half of the engine to get to it, there's just still no room because the frame of the car is there. It's just a nightmare. It's just a nightmare. Passenger side wasn't bad. The driver's side, like I said, was an absolute nightmare. So what I had and did, what I did do, this is actually another day from when I did the passenger side. After I filmed the passenger side, I went ahead and ordered both solenoids. I got the part number and everything like that, and they both came in yesterday. So I went ahead today and we installed them both. So this is going to be the first start now, and we're going to hope that it actually runs without a check engine light, or at least if it has a check engine light, it's now running smoother than it did before. I'm really hoping that it does. I replaced both because I said, why not? The passenger side, it said bank 1, which from what I looked up was the driver side had the issue, not bank 2. So I just went ahead and replaced both of them because why not? It would have been my luck that I would replace this one, and then, you know, in a week the other one would have gone bad. So I might as well replace them both if I had access to it now. So without further ado, I have the key right here. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna give it a start, and we're gonna see if this thing actually runs, please. Also found out that baby spiders did make their home in here, so underneath the car especially, there are spider webs everywhere. So, but we got everything back on and fastened up. Like I said, this side was an absolute nightmare. You could see that there's just no room, even with me taking off all of this stuff. There was just still no room because there's bolts tucked way back there. But without further ado, let's see if it at least runs. I really hope that it does. So, got the new MAF sensor in, got both new timing solenoids in there, and new gaskets, new coils, new spark plugs, new battery. I don't really know what else to do at this point. So we're just gonna hope it runs well now. I know it still has old gas, but I did fill up a couple of gallons of fresh 93 with fuel injector cleaner in there, so hopefully that works too. But without further ado, let's give it a start. It starts, still runs funky. I'm gonna chalk that up to bad gas at this point. Alright guys, and now I just said that it was possibly bad gas in that clip, and unfortunately, it's not. So, stay tuned for the next video, guys, and I'll show you guys what's going on then. I appreciate you all for watching this relatively longer video with a lot of stuff going on. And I'll see you guys all in the next video where we dive a little deeper into what is wrong with my Lincoln project car. So, on that note, take care. Have a good one, guys. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Hit that bell if you want to know when I post next. And I look forward to seeing all of you guys in the next video. Thank you, and take care.